can't wait to meet him.
It's just about 4 o'clock, or I think a little bit after even. So let's get started so we have plenty of time to hear from Matt and ask him our questions. I am going to turn it over to Kimberly to do the introduction, if you would, please.
Take it away, Kimberly.
Okay. Matthew Necci is the chair of the SOCT Board of Directors. Matt was at the Monitoring Law Group, where he practiced and focused on workers' compensation, labor, and employment matters. Matt is a published author and wrote a fiction novel, The Road Will Someday Bend, in 2021. The book was inspired by his grandfather's immigrant Jersey from Italy to America. In addition to his work with Special Olympics, Matt is a member of the Board of Directors for the City of Hartford's Chamber of Commerce and the Husky Ticket Project, an organization that focuses on sending children from underserved communities to University of Connecticut athletic events. Matt lives in Glastonbury with his wife, Jen, and their daughters, Abigail and Riley. So I'd like to welcome Matt Necci.
Oh, that's great, Kim. Thank you so much for the introduction.
You're welcome. I say the board to a board member.
That's right. Kim is one of our great board members and one of our athlete board members. And Kim, am I right? You're also from Glastonbury, like I am too, right?
Well, I do Special Olympics with
Special Olympics in Glastonbury. That's right. So, well, first and foremost, I want to say thank you guys for having me. As Kim said, I'm currently the chairman of the board of directors for Special Olympics Connecticut, but I also know our global messengers are kind of the people that help spread the word for us across Connecticut. And so I want to take a moment and thank all of you guys for the work you're doing. And Debbie, of course, who I know keeps everyone moving in the right direction, just like she helps with the SOCT staff and the board. So what I wanted to do was talk to you guys a little bit about who I am and what I do. I have a few things I just wanted to talk to you about, so that there are things about Special Olympics in life that I hope you think about and try to use in everyday life. And then I'd really like just to answer questions that you may have, because one of the things that the board of directors is responsible for is making sure that we're adequately representing the interests of all of you, all of our athletes, when we make decisions. And so it's frankly good to hear from you and the things you love about Special Olympics, maybe some of the things you think we need to do a little bit more on. And we can talk about different things like that. Okay, and we'll go from there. So as Kim and Debbie said, my name's Matt. I got involved with Special Olympics when I was 3 years old. So my dad worked for a company. For you guys that participate in the winter games, you see Eversource hosts the winter games up in the cross-country skiing and snowshoeing. Eversource used to be called Northeast Utilities. So my dad worked for Northeast Utilities for a long time. And when I was 3 years old, my family liked to ski. We liked to do a lot of downhill skiing. And when I was really little, they tried to have me stay in daycare because they wanted to have fun without me bothering them. But I caused so much trouble in the daycare center that my parents had to take me out, and I had to learn how to ski when I was about 2.5 years old. So that's how I started skiing. And then we started volunteering at downhill skiing events for Special Olympics. And then we moved into cross country and snowshoeing. And then I did some unified bowling in East Hartford. I grew up in the town of East Hartford. And then we did some things like unified basketball. So I actually turned 42 years old a week from Sunday.
You're younger than me.
I'm a baby. That
because I'm 43.
So I'm right behind you.
Yeah,
right?
you are.
So
for travelers.
Yeah, well, I don't work for Travelers, but I have a lot of friends that work for Travelers, and they give me nice things when they have the golf tournament. So, and we can talk about that because the Travelers Championship is coming up.
That's
And
what my brother was, Craig. He
Yep.
was at Travelers.
Travelers is a great company, and they do
Yeah.
a lot of work to help support Special Olympics. So, a couple of things I wanted to talk about. As Kim said, I live in Glastonbury. I live with my wife, Jen, who I met when I was going to East Hartford High School. We're fellow Hornets. We have two daughters, Abby, who's 12, almost 13, and Riley. They're big soccer players, and they do some basketball, but soccer is their big sport. And then I have the two people in my house that actually listen to me are my two golden retrievers. I have Finnegan and Ollie are my two dogs. Those are the only two people in the house that actually listen to me. So at some point, maybe I'll get Deb some pictures of them because Abby and Riley are starting to come to events, but I'd love to get Finnegan and Ollie out to see you guys at some events too. I am a lawyer, but so I do a lot of work in the Hartford area, and I tend to represent employers like the Travelers and insurance companies like the Travelers. If people disagree about something, and then I help try to work things out, right, so that they can move on from whatever problem they're having. Sometimes that means I get to go to court and appear in front of a judge like you see on TV. I probably do that 3 or 4 days a week where I'm in different courthouses around the state. But that's a really small portion of my life. What I love doing is working in the community with nonprofits like Special Olympics. Because I think, I was really lucky when I was a kid. My parents, the motto in our house was you have an obligation to help who you can, however you can, when you can. And Special Olympics is an organization because of how hard you guys work, both when you're doing your sports and training, but also how inclusive you are and how you just love everybody that's around you. You're the type of people that I want to be around all the time. People that love being around their friends and their family, and people that love competing really hard. I was an athlete growing up. I played a lot of soccer and baseball. And then when I was in college at the University of Connecticut, I played rugby for the UConn rugby team. So I love playing different sports, and there's nothing like being a member of a team. So I approach Special Olympics as I think I'm part of the big team, just like you guys are. I know I don't get to do all of the events that you do, but I'm always there really cheering on and kind of loving all the different things that you're doing. So, Debbie said I could talk about anything, so I can talk forever. But one of the things I really wanted to start with is how we approach what we're doing, both when we're training for practice, if you're in school, how you're approaching school, if you're working, how you approach work, right? And so when I wake up every day, a few things that I try to be really cognizant about. What am I thankful for that day, right? Life can be hard sometimes. Sometimes we have challenges. We don't feel like going to work or school, or we're having a tough practice because we're tired. This morning I ran 5 miles. I thought it was the most painful 5 miles I've run in a few months, but I was so thankful to be able to do it and to be able to go to work and do things and come home to talk to you guys and to be with my family. I'm already looking forward to later tonight after dinner, going for a walk with my wife and my dogs, right? So I always want you to think about what you're waking up. What are you thankful for? It's your mom or your dad or your siblings or your friends, your coaches. From Special Olympics perspective, I'm thankful for our athletes for sure. But everything we do couldn't happen without staff people like Debbie or like Mike, right? Or you guys, I know a lot of you knew Bo before Bo retired, and we're going to see him at a couple of events soon. So I'm excited about that. Your coaches, the people that volunteer and do the timing, if you're doing a track or a swimming event or cheering you on, we can't do what we do without those people. So again, one of the reasons I love working with Special Olympics participants is you guys usually do a really great job of giving high fives or hugs or showing what you're thankful for. So always make sure you're going into life doing that. The second thing I always ask people is, what are you putting back into the world? So again, we all live our own lives, and I'm going to answer. I will answer that question, Kim, because UConn is one of my favorite things to talk about. So that will be the first question that I answer. But what are we putting back out there, right? So I do some work. I'm a lawyer, but it's not what I want to put back into the world all of the time. Are you doing good things to help other people? right? When you go to sleep at night, do you talk about, well, did I help my friend who was struggling at track practice? They didn't want to necessarily run that second lap. Am I doing what I can to support them? If there's a new athlete, right? Sometimes your teams, you get someone who had never participated in Special Olympics before. What are you doing to help them? I think the global messengers are what you do with this and spreading the word about Special Olympics. You're putting a lot of great stuff out into the world, right? Special Olympics, we talk about promoting inclusion and bringing people together and using sports to do that. So we talk,
So why?
right? So, right, you're putting that back out there and you're talking and helping people. So Special Olympics, we're talking about what can we put back into the world? And then finally, which is really important when you talk about Special Olympics, what are we want to work hard. Working hard is the most important thing when you're training for an event, right? You don't want to act like you had not worked hard or that you left a little out there, but always make sure you're being good to people, even though you're working hard. Winning a gold medal or getting a ribbon, it doesn't matter. Are you being good to your competitors? Are you saying thank you to your coaches? Are you saying thank you to the volunteers? When you're on that podium, are you smiling and doing a big smile and giving hugs to your fellow competitors? We want to make sure we're working hard and doing our best and being brave in the attempt, right? That's part of what we say, that when we take the pledge, we want to win, but if we can't win, let's be brave in the attempt. But also, there's no reason we can't be good to people when we're doing those things. So those are 3 areas that I try to, when I'm going through life every day, I'm having a great day, a bad day, an in-between day. Those are the things that I do to stay motivated every day. So I want you to think about that. That's a very brief thing. And I think I'm going to have some other topics I'll get onto, but I do want to move on to questions because I know there's going to be a lot and it can go back and forth. So what I'll start before we start taking questions is answering Kim's question. So in case people didn't see in the chat, Kim did ask me if I've ever been to a UConn basketball game. So I graduated from the University of Connecticut, UConn in 2003. I have season tickets to men's basketball, football, women's soccer, ice hockey, and baseball. So we go to a lot of events. And actually, I was one of the best things that I've gotten to do in a long time. Last month, I got to go down to Texas and I was in Houston with the team and got to watch the men win the national championship. So I was down in Houston for about 4 days. I got to spend some time with Coach Hurley and Coach Oriema after the game, which was really, really special for me. So Kim, if you go, and I'll see if I can get some pictures I'll take after this, Deb, that you can show everyone. My basement in my house is basically a full UConn room. So I am up at UConn all the time. It's one of my passions. I love everything about UConn. So yes, Kim, anytime we're at a board meeting or anytime you see me out and you want to talk UConn, we will talk UConn.
Yeah, because even in my bedroom, it's all UConn in my bed.
Perfect. And we did, I know some of you may have even gone. We had a women's basketball game that Special Olympics, we coordinated with UConn, and some of you may have even gotten to go this past year. I have some friends who are at UConn, and we are going to be working with them to try to make it more possible for you not to just go to games, but maybe even start to meet some of the players and coaches when you're up at games in either Hartford or up in stores.
I remember one time I went up to stores and I did get a picture with some of the UConn Ghost team.
Awesome. Deb, do you want to, I know people have their hands raised, but sometimes people's Zoom names don't necessarily match up with their actual names, and I don't want to call anyone by the incorrect name. So do you want to kind of pick and choose the questions?
Sure, absolutely. Let's see. I think Megan's hand was up. Go ahead, Megan.
Go ahead, Megan.
So for me, I stay focused on Special Olympics means to me, and I stay focused on that. And I know a friend of mine you might know. His name is Sean Bidowitz. Do you remember
Sean
him?
Rabinowitz. I was just on the phone with Sean Rabinowitz about an hour ago.
Wow.
He's a real close friend of ours. Me and Allison knows him from Special Olympics.
So Sean, who I just talked to, he's in Louisville, Kentucky for work right now. Sean is one of my very good friends. We went to college together at UConn. We played rugby together at UConn, and then I was able to have Sean join the board of directors for Special Olympics last year. Did
Oh.
was Sean one of your coaches in Trumbull, or how do you know Sean?
From Shelton actually, and
From
he
Shelton, okay.
yes, and he wrote an article about me doing my shot put.
I'm gonna take down. It's Megan McCormick.
Correct.
All
I
right,
know him too, Matt.
you know Sean. All
Yeah.
these people know Sean.
I don't.
You will get to know Sean. He will probably, he should be at the summer games. Again, he's a new board member, so he's going to be around
Yep.
Special Olympics for.
Wonderful. I'll be happy to see him.
I have seen him during our board meetings.
Yep, Sean is a fun guy, and he's a very good friend of mine. So Megan, I'll make sure I say hello to him for you.
Yes, and he wrote a good
And me.
article about me.
He wrote an article about you with your, was it shot putting, you said?
Yes.
Awesome. And Sean's a big UConn fan too.
I will.
All right, let's hop over to Matt next.
So Matt, my name is Matt, and I am my dad used to work for Travelers in Hartford, and Tim Shriver said to me that Matt wants to get his assistant certification in Special Olympics alpine skiing, and then Tim Shriver said he does not have, he's not a disability, he has a disability. And Tim Shriver said he's going to get his certification in West Hartford ski team. And I got it.
Awesome.
And I said to Tim Shriver, I said, thank you. And also, Matt, I'm going over the edge for Special Olympics Connecticut. And if you have a Facebook page, you can look me up and support me.
I will do that. I am also someone, Debbie's seen me, I've gone over the edge twice. And it was a lot of fun, but I'm going to let you, Matt, take over this time. Have you ever gone down before?
I went down in Hartford.
Awesome.
And
I went over the edge last year for the first time.
It's sometimes it's scary to do that, but it's
34
always important to
floors
do.
and Mohegan Sun. So
Yep.
look me up and support me.
Well, I will look you up. I think I may even have your card, Matt. You may have given me your card before. So I will look that up, and we will you will get a donation later this week. I'll
right.
promise you that. And I will actually, Deb, is that in September?
Yeah, September 1st.
Okay, so Matt, I'm going to try to get there on September 1st so that I'm one of the first people you see when you touch the ground.
All right.
All right?
All right.
Cool. We're recording this, so. Okay, let's hop over to Justin Riker for the next question. I see a lot of hands. We'll try to get to everybody.
We're going to get to everyone.
Go ahead, Justin. I don't think we can hear you. You can unmute yourself there.
Justin.
Justin, want us to come back to you? We can do that. All right.
He's still on mute, just so you know.
Yeah. Let's see. I'll ask him to unmute and then we'll come back to him. Okay. Let's hop over to Ryan next and then we'll go to Allie. Go ahead, Ryan.
Okay. My question
Debbie,
is,
can you hear me?
Yeah, we'll come back to you right after
to-
Ryan, Justin. Hold tight. Okay, sorry. Go ahead, Ryan. Then we'll go to Justin.
okay, my question is for the board chair, is that I do stuff for UConn. I also do the Smile Mile for that event. Does he know about it?
Yeah, we had a Smile Mile a week or two ago. We had it first one after COVID. So we're going to keep it. I can promise you this, Mike Mason, the CEO and president of Special Olympics. This year was the first one that we came back from COVID. So we're still building it up, but next year's event, we're going to make sure we have a lot of athletes there. It was a little bit tricky this year because the soccer event was supposed to be the same day and that got canceled because of so much rain. But Ryan, we will make sure that you're at the Smile Mile next year for sure.
Okay, and I got one more question.
Yeah.
My question is, do you know Kathleen Hayes? She's a board member of Special Olympics.
Kathleen Hayes is a wonderful, wonderful member of our board of directors. She's an attorney, just like me. And I know she's a coach in Middletown. So Kathleen and I know each other. We saw last week, we had an event in Stubbington, and Kathleen and her husband and her little son were at the event. So we saw them last week.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Ryan.
Great,
Yeah,
Ryan.
sure.
Let's go over to Justin again. I think he got his audio back. Let's give it a try. Yes? No? What?
Justin.
We heard you there for a second. All right.
He
All right,
was there. I think he's typing in the chat.
We'll come. Oh, okay. Let's see. Let's see.
If we
what he-
see it in the chat, we'll answer it from the chat.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Type your question in there. You can do that, Justin. And hold tight. I see everybody's hands. We'll get you guys. I hear clicking like he's typing. You hear that, guys?
Yeah.
What's that? Okay.
We'll give him a second. Dan, let's see. We'll go to Allie next, and then we'll wait for her.
Good. You mentioned about being a lawyer. What do you do as a lawyer?
So I'm what you call a litigator, which means I go in front of a judge. Usually when there's a dispute, a lawyer represents one party or another party. So
Well, because
go ahead. No, go ahead.
my grandpa used to be a lawyer too, and then he passed on, and then my grandmother passed after him. Yeah. So
Yeah,
that-
one of the good things about being a lawyer is you can be a litigator like me, or like
Mhm.
Kathleen Hayes. Kathleen helps people with intellectual disabilities or people that are older. She just helps them get their affairs set so that they can get all the help that they need. She's not necessarily in front of a judge.
And I was gonna say where I work, I always get my friends involved to help support me to Special Olympics.
Awesome.
We've been doing a lot of things like bake sales and a bunch of other stuff. Yeah, and also I'm willing to have them come to our summer games this year to watch me compete, Matt.
Awesome. What's your event that you compete in?
I compete in track and field.
And do you have a certain race that you run or a certain track?
Actually,
field event?
there's usually 3 I do. Well, I'm gonna try a 200 this year, which will be my first time doing it.
Awesome.
I'm gonna do a 400 and maybe the running long jump. I'm still working on that, Matt. I'm having a little difficulty with that right now.
Listen, if it came easy, then everyone would do it, right? Part of what you guys are doing is you're doing stuff that not everyone can do. And that's
Right.
a really, really special thing. So I always like a challenge, right? If life was easy, it would be boring. So
I would.
what does Miley Cyrus say? I don't really listen to her music, but my daughter's doing it. I think she says it's not like the top of the mountain, it's the climb, right? It's the
Yes.
work to
Yes, the
get
climb.
there is
Right.
what makes it worthwhile, right? Then you can go after the games. That's when, speaking of Sean Rabinowitz, some of the toughest times where you became close with people is because you were in the field of battle together and you went through something really hard together. And then
Right.
you were done. You have these great stories that we talk about 25 years later. So I get it, but I would encourage you, don't give up. Keep pushing. I know
Yeah,
it's
because like
around the
I
corner.
jump good. It's just like when I land, that's when I hurt the back of my leg, and I'm trying not to overpower too much, Matt.
So we don't want to get hurt, but you got 5
No.
weeks to practice, right? I was just with the Glastonbury team on Monday, and there was
Mhm.
about 75 athletes and coaches there working really hard. So keep trying. You don't want to get hurt, but do what you can to
No.
keep going forward.
I'm taking
trying your
the
best.
jumps off this week, but hopefully soon enough I'll get back, Matt.
Good. Well, good luck. If I can help, let me know.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks,
And
Allie.
by the way, my dad used to be chairman also.
Really?
Yeah, you know my dad, Steve Smith.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, we've been
Yeah.
really lucky. I've been on the board of directors. This is my 9th year. And
Wow,
we've had
amazing.
just a great group of people that I love learning about leaders, right? I love learning about people that work hard And I think what's great about our group is there's a lot of people in the world, I'm sure you've met them. They talk about doing things, right? But they just talk about it. Special Olympics people, we don't talk about it. The phrase that I had a mentor that used to say is you walk the talk. So you don't just talk the talk. You don't just walk the walk, right? Because you don't tell anyone about it. Walking the talk means you talk to people about what you're going to do, but then we get it done. Because I
Yeah.
love people that get stuff done. So I've been really lucky from your dad and from some other people, Ken Bose, who was right before me.
Oh, yeah, I know Ken very
Yep,
well.
Craig
I know
Edmondson.
Ken and I
Ken
go way
on the
back.
board.
Yeah, and some of you saw Craig Edmondson, who was filling in for Mike while Mike was out.
Yep,
I've
I
been-
know him.
I've been
I
really
saw-
lucky to learn from people like that.
Please.
Because I always want to learn. I hope for the rest of my life, I'm learning how to be a good leader.
And one more thing, Matt,
Sure.
this is new for me this year. I'm learning to be a health messenger like Kimberly, and Chelsea's doing it with me too.
That's great.
Nancy.
And me.
Yep. Oh yeah, and Abby too.
Yes. Yeah. Some of our global messengers is actually health messengers, and part of our job is trying to convince other athletes how to be healthy and how to
Yeah.
stay active.
Right.
So that's great. So so one of the things I get to do as the chairman is I get to talk to people like our governor and people that work in the legislature about why Special Olympics is so great and how important we are to the state of Connecticut. And one
Oh,
of the things we
wonderful.
talk to them about is, when I was very young, Special Olympics was basically known for just having the winter games and the summer games. And one of the things we're trying to do, and I think the global messengers and the healthy athletes component of what you're talking about, we're trying to let everyone know we're not just 2 weeks in the summer and 2 weeks in the winter. We are a year-round organization, and we are promoting health causes that are going to help people in the state of Connecticut. And that's something that we really stress when we're talking to them.
Oh, I guess it helps a lot, doesn't it, Matt?
It does.
Great. So Angie's been leading that training and she's been doing an amazing job. So shout out to
Awesome.
Angie.
Thank you,
Thank
Angie.
you. Okay,
Well,
let's
Angie, I
There
saw
she
you
is.
at our
back.
5K
Justin
a couple
left and
weeks ago,
came.
so keep it up.
Justin, do you want to ask your question? I think his audio is working now.
Yeah, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, much better.
Okay, good.
Good job, Justin.
Hey Matt, how you doing?
I'm good, Justin. How you doing?
Good. One of my positions with Special Olympics is actually two of my positions are community relations. I go around to like nonprofits and promote Special Olympics, stuff like that. Currently, I think I'm gonna start either in July or August. Deb sent me a packet of the Over the Edge pamphlets that I'm gonna pass out to everyone, like all the local places. And also another responsibility I have is like since we started hosting these meetings, Debbie's put me in charge of booking all our guests at most of the
Awesome.
meetings. So
Well, thank you for doing that, Justin. Like I said, it's important that we don't just do the great work, but that we have people that are able to go out in the world and tell everyone the great work we're doing, right? Because we need their support. So I think that's wonderful. And if you ever need any help after you get the materials from Debbie and you want a sidekick to come out to talk to people with you, if you ever need a sidekick, let me know. I'm happy to come and assist and carry your luggage or your briefcase in any way you need me to.
wow.
That's right.
All right. That's really good.
Thank you.
Thanks, Justin. Let's hop over to Dan Whiting.
Hi, Matt. My name's
Hey, Dan.
Daniel. How many
Yeah.
years you in Travelers?
So Travelers, I don't work at Travelers, but I work with a lot of people at Travelers. So actually on our board, we do have someone on our board that
Yes.
works at the Travelers, Nick Seminara. Nick's worked at the Travelers for like 30 years and has been there a very long time.
I think I might know him.
You've probably met Nick before. He comes to a lot of events. So
I know him.
My involvement
Yeah,
with
me too.
Travelers is working more so with collaborating with them on the Special Olympics. And so one of the things that the Travelers is very great at doing is they love supporting nonprofits in our community. And one of the ways they do that is, you guys have probably heard of the Travelers Championship. It's the big PGA golf event that's in Connecticut.
Yes.
And the Travelers is the sponsor of that. So what they like to do is raise a lot of money for various nonprofits in the world, but they also give some extra money to organizations like Special Olympics if we raise enough funds. And so I work with the Travelers to make sure that we're raising some money that helps celebrate the good work they're doing. And they help us by helping support us with some money that lets us host events, throw lunches. And so they're a great organization. And I have a lot of friends there. They're a really great organization for our state.
The reason that I'm saying it was Special Olympics Connecticut, and I was there a lot, twice. And I was in Travelers with all Special Olympics.
Did you go to the big building in Hartford there?
Yes, I have.
Yeah, Travelers Tower.
I was there.
Pretty cool building, right?
So I was there with all Special Olympics.
That's great. They have that cool big red umbrella there. I used to go take my picture next to that thing all the time. So it's a great place.
It was a good place. I like the place.
Me too. And I love Hartford.
And I'm good with people a lot. So I see them, a lot of people there.
Well, that's what our global messengers do, right? They get to meet with people in the community like the Travelers and talk about the good things we're doing and your events and some of the other things we're doing in the community, right?
That's when I came from. Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Very cool.
Thank you.
Good stuff, Dan. Okay, Alexandra, what's your question for Matt?
I have a comment.
Yeah.
Speaking of travelers, I travel a lot because I work in Darien. I took the train and a city bus there.
What do you do in Darien?
I work with little kids, 4s and 3s.
Awesome. Are they in like a school?
Yes, and
Very cool. Sometimes working with 3 and 4-year-olds, I bet you is pretty crazy, right? They have a lot of energy.
yes.
Yeah, and they're running all over the place. Yeah,
Sometimes. And they're getting ready for graduation and last day of school.
Oh, so the last day of school. Yeah. So that's fun to hear because I have a 4th grader and a 7th grader, and my wife is a 7th grade teacher. So everybody in my house is talking about the last day of school coming up, and I don't get to talk about the last day of school. So I'm a little upset about that. Audrey, do you get to take the summer off, or are you going to work in the summer too?
Alexandra, that question was for you.
Oh. I don't know just yet because my boss might move me to a different room for a summer camp or something.
Okay. Well, keep us in the loop. I want to hear about next year's class of 3 and 4-year-olds too.
I might move into a different room.
Very cool. I was going to real quick. I saw in the chat, Kim sent this question to everyone that I'd like to answer. Like, if you could travel anywhere, where would it be and why? My favorite place I've ever been to, Kim, is Ireland.
I've been there.
Ireland's great.
I've been beautiful there. You love it.
I have 3 of my grandparents came from Italy, and 1 of my grandparents came from Ireland. So I got to visit where my Irish grandmother came from. But if I could go someplace next, I think Italy is probably the next place I want to go. Although my kids have told me Paris is the next place they want to go. So I'm not sure who's going to win that. But I would love to go back to Disney myself. Someone just said they'd like to go to Disney.
Oh yeah, Disney.
I love Disney World.
Me too. And New York City.
Mom and Dad were talking about Italy ourselves. We're thinking about the same thing that you are.
Yep.
So we can connect with each
We'll
other.
connect over in Italy.
Okay, yeah,
nice.
that'd be great.
Yeah.
I was supposed to go to Italy, but I haven't gone yet.
You got plenty of time, Kim.
Yep.
I do have something to tell you, Matt. When you started like working together with other Special Olympic people,
Yep.
at my job, when we had like the penguin plunges and stuff, the residents helped put like fruit together for a fruit sale, and we sold them to the other residents, and they helped raise money for the plunge for
That's
us.
great.
That's nice.
It's
Excuse me,
good.
Matt.
Yeah,
I'm
Megan.
sorry, but I have to go.
No,
So,
no need to apologize. I'm going to talk to
Okay.
Sean. It was great meeting you.
Yeah.
Yep. I see you guys soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye,
Bye.
Charles.
Hello.
Hi, Andre.
Okay, let's hop over to Abby. Abby's got a question for Matt.
Actually, I just wanted to, yeah, I just wanted to say I'm on the board of directors for where I work.
That's awesome. That's a
Mm.
I work-
big job,
work-
right?
I work for the ARC. I'm the client representative.
Very
Wow.
cool.
And plus, I'm leading our next athlete leadership session in June.
Do you know what you're talking about yet?
Yeah, injury prevention.
Very
Oh.
important, right?
And I work at Mitchell College in New London on Wednesdays.
Yep.
And I got the athletic trainer to join us.
Cool.
That's a perfect guest, Abby. And I love your name because I have an Abby too. My older daughter is Abby. So that's important, right? When we're working hard, we got to get our bodies warm and stretched out before we go
Yeah.
running.
Because we're trying to get Fit 5 started up here in the quiet corner where I live with our Special Olympics program.
So let's say let's get something done today, Abby. So what you said you're trying to get it started. What do you need to make sure it gets started?
Yeah, because I'm gonna talk with Caitlin and Angie because
Okay.
I know all about Fit 5. Yeah,
So
and plus I had told the coach I would help someone lead the warm-ups too at practice.
So we're going to make sure we connect you with Angie and Caitlin and see what we can do to get a Fit 5 team going up in the quiet corner.
I got the book that they sent me.
You're paying attention to what G
Me
wants.
too.
Yeah.
Because not too many people up here know about it.
Well, we're here to spread the word, right?
Yeah, no, and last year was my first year going over the edge.
How many of you guys have raised your hand? How many of you have gone or you're going over the edge?
I never been.
I know
Uh,
Ryan and Dan too.
You guys are gonna go this year?
When is it, Deb?
September 1st.
Yeah, well,
Oh,
last year I wore my friend who I live with, my friend Tom, let me borrow his GoPro camera.
Oh,
And
that's
my,
cool.
my mom could not watch the footage.
So you know what, Abby, it's funny you say that. So the first time I went over the edge, and you're going down, and the building you go down at Mohegan Sun, the windows look like mirrors. So all you see is the trees behind you. And when I was about halfway down, the photographer who was taking pictures started slamming his hand on the window.
I know,
I wanted
yeah.
to look at him, and he scared me right out of my pants almost. What's going on?
that must have been
Debbie
scary.
can send you the link, but I got interviewed by Channel 4 last year.
Awesome.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's,
Debbie can send
that's
you the
nice.
links. And Matt Glad got interviewed too.
That's nice.
Mm.
That's
Very cool.
I love it.
Alicia, did you have a question? I think your hand's
I
up.
did.
Good.
So yeah, I have been working with the new brain I've been working with the new brain police department, and I'm it for them too. And then one of them one of them gave me a straight. So what do you do for a living?
What do I do for a living?
Yeah.
So I'm an attorney. So that's I'm in court. You ever see on TV? Do you see the people that are up in front of a judge in a courtroom?
Yeah, I do have a judge too, but he's like attorney. I call it. He's my my dad and my mom has the exact same thing, right?
Yep.
But I do work for the Pacifics too. Like,
Very
I
cool.
do a lot because I do know right hand a lot. And
I know Ryan too. Ryan's a good guy.
I watch him every night.
Yes.
He tells the weather better than I do the law, though. So
I forget TV one time.
Sometimes they make a mistake and they let me go on TV. I don't do it as good as Ryan does it.
Wow.
No.
He should be.
Matt, I have another question to ask. What's it like to be a board of directors? What do you do there?
So
Yeah,
that's a very good question. So
Again.
in the board, we get together. Sometimes we do meetings like this. Sometimes we do them in person, but we talk about a lot of different things. We talk about we just had a meeting. We're talking about everything that goes into the preparation for the summer games, right? So this year's kind of interesting, and last year too was.
Yeah, lopsided.
We don't just have one weekend, right? We have 2 weekends this year.
Yeah.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yep, and some will be at Yale, right? So we talk about.
And my home.
Well, I'm going to be at Yale anyway.
And my home.
And your home too?
Yeah, in my hometown, New Haven.
Awesome.
Oh, that's so cool.
Oh yeah, to come to my home.
The pizza capital of the world.
The championship
Hey,
town.
when are you going to have a full blast again, like with the 2 weekends?
So we're working. I think not next year, but maybe the year after. We're gonna do it where it's just one big weekend again. But we're not there yet. So the people that we are lucky, whether it's at Fairfield or Yale, and I know we used to do it at Southern.
That's where we're at. So my mom is a coordinator for the Pacific, right?
Yep.
And she does the games, like for the originals, and for the certain games. This year they can take out brand this year.
Very cool.
And
So we do a
what's
lot
the
of meetings.
protocol for masks this year?
So I think if you want to wear a mask, you can during events, but you don't have to.
Thank you so much.
Good.
And if I misspoke, we'll have Dr. Bob, who's on our board, send out an email. But I think it's if you feel comfortable wearing a mask, you can. There's no one that would say
Sending Deb a message to let her know
I don't
that
think
we're
there's a
meeting
requirement.
temporarily.
You didn't have to, right?
Get the audio back.
Yeah, very.
Great. Albert, did you have a question? I thought I saw your hand go up earlier. No, I can't hear you. You're on mute. There's Becca. Hey, Becca. It's nice to see you. Glad you could join us.
Yes. Chat thing.
What's up?
Hey,
You got my
Daddy,
chat?
Let's
I have a
look at the
question.
It's in the box.
Listening to the Wizard of Oz?
Yeah,
I'm a little bit, yeah.
Oh, I'm looking, Bobby. Oh, okay. Bobby's got a question for Matt. Here we go. You ready, Matt?
I'm ready.
Matt,
What is your favorite MLB
baseball
team?
team?
My favorite baseball team, Bobby, is the New York Mets.
Wow, that's nice.
They're having a tough year. Most of my life they've had tough years. But
Yeah,
a lot of my friends are Yankees and Red Sox fans, but I am a New York Mets fan.
interesting.
I'm an LA Dodger fan.
You're an LA Dodger fan?
Yup.
Oh,
Wow,
What's
that's
up?
really
My
something.
team is first place right now.
they are in first place.
Mhm.
I know people get mad when I tell them that I have to root for the Oregon for basketball.
You're an Oregon fan?
Besides UConn.
Well, thank you.
Well, we have family on the West Coast, so
That makes sense.
I sent my uncle a UConn shirt, and he sent me an Oregon shirt and an Oregon
That's so
hat.
funny.
One of my best friends is an Oregon Duck, so that's
Wow.
okay.
Well, the
I'm a North Carolina fan.
Well, the UConn men did win their March Madness in this bracket.
Yeah, of course. I think my mom learned her lesson though for March Madness. Don't make bets with me.
Ah.
She lost, and now she has to pay up gift cards to me.
That's so funny.
I do it every year for March Madness, and I have the men's.
Well, hey, I think I'm already mad. I already know what one of my birthday presents is.
What do we want to ruin the surprise for everybody?
Hey, I know what it is. It's a shirt of my favorite soccer team. But I'm wearing the UConn men's shirt.
Awesome.
Yes. I have them winning my men's basketball bracket, and so Craig has to get me a debit card and my sister-in-law's gonna make me a meal.
Awesome.
That's nice.
Abby, that's a good shirt. And Ryan, I'll get to your question. I know you have your hand raised. Abby, my wife always says to me, the only things I wear are my suit to work or Yukon clothes. So those are the only things I have in my wardrobe.
I
You
read
want
that
to see my wardrobe? I got. Yeah, I also wanted to tell you I was one of 4 bowlers who went to the USA games in
I don't know, I'm
2018
doing
in
something.
Seattle.
I'll help you in a
That's
minute.
great.
Wow,
I
that's
think
pretty,
one of our board members, Brett, was at those games too.
that's pretty amazing. Wow.
Was Brett Glazer at the 2018?
Yeah.
Oh, Brett.
Yeah,
Haven't seen him in a
of
while.
course I sat here. Of course I sat with next to him on the plane ride home.
He's a good tennis player.
That's nice.
My brother and my sister-in-law went to Seattle because they did tennis.
Awesome.
Yeah, Kim,
Cool.
I know your brother and sister-in-law.
Yeah, in fact, I was at the USA Games in 2014 for track and field.
Awesome.
Nice.
Ryan, you had another question, Ryan?
Yes, I do. I would a new question. Cause I did something a couple of months ago. It was during February. You won't believe this. I talked to the mayor of Enfield
about
You met the mayor
the
of
inclusion.
I changed it to
Yes, I
shorts
did.
because it was so
Wow.
hot.
Yes.
Woo.
about
And the inclusion thing that he does is inclusion, diversity, what is it called? Committee.
That's great, right? So one of the things we
Yeah.
talk about is diversity, equity, and inclusion. And for Special
Yes.
Olympics, we believe in that too. And that we think the best way to do that is through teamwork in sports,
Yeah.
right? That's why. Have any of you guys done
Yes.
unified sports?
Yep.
I know
I
you've
do.
done that before.
I have. I started doing it in high school. I did.
Yep. Unified
How is
sports
it?
is one of the ways we promote, Ryan, inclusion and diversity. So that's great. And I think they have a big program up in Enfield too.
The only diversity
but
I ever
are you-
done
are
was a
you aware
diversity
that-
day in school.
I'm sorry, Ryan, what did you say?
I
Are you
said the
aware
only
that
diversity thing I ever done was a diversity day in school. I never done what he mentioned before.
I did unified sports through Manchester High, and I did basketball, soccer, and basketball. But here's the funny part. The funny part is that I played against my last grade team,
Yep.
and then having me to play on their team. Now it's my high school. But I put my own little tricks and I beat them.
Well, that's awesome. You know, one of the things I was going to say, kind of picking up on what you guys are just talking about, we do diversity every day, right? Like, look at everyone on this call. None of us are the same
Yes.
person. We're all completely different. And what is important and what we should focus on is we should always celebrate that we're our own unique, different people, but we're all on the same team with Special Olympics, right?
Yeah.
That's what diversity and inclusion is about. Is it's okay that we're different. Our own gifts and
Yes.
talents, right? So we should be celebrating we're all different people, and including people, even if they're not the same exact person. We all have different backgrounds. So that's something that you may not notice it, but we're doing diversity right now. We're talking about that.
I've been telling my friends at my job, like what I enjoy doing with Special Olympics, how to get involved.
Yep.
And and they always talk to me like I'm a real superstar. They always tease me about that. Yeah, because they always tell me I'm a superstar. I'm like a good role model, leader to them. That's what I'm like with around here with everybody here.
That's great.
Don't we have
Something
a
you wanted to add, Ryan? Ryan, I wanted you to be able to finish your thought there. What did you want to add?
Yes, Mayor. Are you aware that I am known because I did something with Debbie Horn? I'm putting together my inclusion campaign.
I did not know about
On the
that.
web, but I don't know if it's. So, orchestrated in 2021. I'm willing to try it again this year because I'm willing to put the word out because I'm big on two things, inclusion and speaking up. So I'm asking if we can make another year of it this year.
I think, I think that's a great idea, Ryan. We can definitely, Debbie and I will talk about it.
Sounds good. Okay,
Okay,
Rebecca
then
had a really
let
great
Mike
question.
Debbie-
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Ryan. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah, Debbie, are you willing to try again this year?
Yes, absolutely.
Not pinning you down, I'm asking you nicely.
Thanks for bringing that up. Becca had a really great
Becky.
question that she entered into the chat that I'd love to read. Becca, do you want me to read it for you, or do you want to share it?
You can read it.
Okay. It says, what's the hardest part of being a chairman?
Wow, that's a great question. So the hardest part, I think, well, it's really twofold. So our board, we have, depending on the time of the year, anywhere from 25 to about 30 board members. And they're all really, really busy people. They all have really important jobs, and they're all really smart people. And so the hardest part of what I do is making sure that I take into consideration and listen to all those different people and make sure that
He's
we
next door, I think.
let them be heard, but we also like have to get on the same page. At some point you can have a discussion like we're all having today, but after there's discussion, kind of bringing people back together and making sure that we're using the talents they're bringing to the table to serve our athletes the best way we can. So it's more of just, it's kind of like what Debbie does with you guys every week, just keeping everyone asking questions, getting different perspectives, and then bringing us all together at some point and saying, okay, great, we've all talked. What's our mission? What are we going to do together next?
Yeah, like
Get more people involved, like with the things that you can not do. Like, for example, walking.
Yep.
Like that. Like I was allowed too with the one of my friends is my PCA, and we walk together and chat. Like and we do walking and then chat together. And so kids me walking. You know, so it's like stop, you know.
Yep.
Like, since Matt is the chairman, I'm like since I'm also on the board with him. My job is like for the group messenger, like for the trainees and the opportunities that we do. I report them to the board and let them know what our group messengers have been doing.
Yeah, every month or every time we have a board meeting, both Kim and Brett Glazer, who we were talking about, they have an opportunity to give the athletes report. So the board has different committees. Some are in charge of helping with programs. Some are work with Mike Mason and that whole group to make sure that, you know, we have finances just like your mom and dad's or your friends. They have a house they have to run. It's the same thing. We have bills we have to pay. We have to raise money. So we try to use different people with whatever they're talented with. That's the role they fill. So Kim gives us the report of what's happening with the global messengers and gives a little bit more of what the athletes are thinking we need to do as an organization. That's very helpful with that.
What are your good and bad points with the being on the board?
I don't think there's any bad points, actually. You know, the board, everyone that's on the board volunteers to do that. So one of the things that important to me,
This is your favorite song?
well, you want to do things that you're passionate about. If you're not passionate about the things that you're doing, there's no point in doing it. So everyone that's on our board is very passionate about Special Olympics. They want to be there to help you guys.
Sounds good.
Right.
So we're coming up on 5 to 5, and I want to be respectful of Matt's time and everybody else's time. So is there anybody that hasn't asked a question yet that would like to? John Brillante. Go ahead, John, and then we'll get to Albert. Go ahead, John.
Hey Matt, are you a lawyer like in other states?
Yeah, so John, and John's a former board member too. So I remember seeing John. So I'm a lawyer in Connecticut. I'm a lawyer in New York. And then I'm a lawyer for the US, the federal system has their own courts. So I'm a lawyer in the US Supreme Court, and then in some of the courts that lead up to the US Supreme Court. But from a state perspective, Connecticut and New York are the two states that I work in.
Okay, that's cool. That's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Okay, Albert, go ahead. You're next.
You know, Matt and Debbie, you know, before I ever played Special Olympics, I was very disappointed in myself because I didn't do things. But with Special Olympics in my life, I have blossomed into a beautiful, older but wiser individual, and I have learned to win. But if I cannot lose but not give up. And
Right.
It has been a life changer for me for the games and for now with Global Messenger.
Well, I love hearing that, Albert.
I'm on 2 boards.
What's the other? What boards are you on?
I'm on the Hartford Association for Retarded Intellectual Disability on the board of directors there, and I was on another board a few years ago, but it called Viability. But this organization here, you know, it picks people up and it makes people smile, even though they don't win. But we don't lose. We just keep on trucking.
Well, Albert, we're going to have you next time I see Renee Danino, we're going to have you do a commercial with her, because what you just said is why Debbie does what she does. It's why I want to be on the board.
Hey, one more thing, Debbie, you still keep in touch with Renee?
I do.
I talked to her this week, actually. We're trying like crazy to set up a day where we can go visit her. So I will keep you informed.
All of us. Yes.
I can't take all of you, but we'll keep our fingers crossed that we can get a date. She is actually going to be, you know where you can see Renee? She is going to be at our Torch Run rally in West Hartford, Thursday, June 1st.
Oh,
cool. 4:30. So I'll send that in a note, and any of you guys that want to come out to that Torch Run rally in West Hartford, you're more than encouraged to attend, and you can visit with Renee then. I'm sure she would love to see you. So
please send an email.
I did never care at 1:30 though, like 1 o'clock.
Yep, okay. All right, we've got 2 more minutes. I know Becca had another question. Let me just ask that.
I got to go anyway. So nice seeing you, Matt.
You too. Tell your dad I said hi.
I will. Bye.
And then Becca wanted to know, what is your favorite part of being a chairman?
Oof. I think, you know, one of the things that gets to happen when you're a chairman is you get invited to attend a lot of Special Olympics events. So board members can go, they go to a lot of things. They're very active. Once you become the chairperson, you get to go to a lot more events and do a lot more special activities like what I'm doing tonight. So I like the fact that I've got my hands a little bit more into things, and it's not just going to meetings and occasionally showing up to events. I'm trying to get to I only get to be the chairman for 2 years, so I'm trying to squeeze as much into this 2 years as I possibly can.
That's good.
And Matt,
did everybody get a chance to ask a question? Did I miss anybody that didn't get to ask one question?
I did.
Oh, so no.
John, did you have one? No, you're good. Okay, excellent. Well, it's 5 o'clock, so I'm going to kind of just.
I have one more. Debbie.
We can do one more.
Matt's got one more. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So, Matt.
Yes.
I have a business in town, and it called the Blue Dragonfly in Broad Street, and Debbie Horn went to my agency, and I sell note cards and notepads.
Okay.
So if you need a note card or a notepad for the state office,
that's the place.
Come down, and I would be there on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays.
And what town are you in?
Windsor, Connecticut.
Windsor, okay.
Oh, I'm glad Matt.
Yeah, if you can get me that location, I'm happy to go visit. I always need thank you cards and note stuff to write out. So yes, I can do
Hey,
that.
Debbie Hoy, can you send Matt the address to the Blue Dragonfly?
Yes, I can do that.
And I'll use that info, Matt, and make sure I get your contact for Over the Edge, and I'll send you something for Over the Edge too.
All right.
All right.
All right, you guys. I think that's a wrap.
Well, thank you guys for having me. I hope I can come
All right,
back at
let's
some
give
point.
Matt a great big round of applause for spending so much time with us and answering our questions and sharing why he is such an amazing chairman of our board of directors.
Well, I
Thank
hope
you.
to see you guys.
Thank
I
you.
hope
Thank
to see
you,
you guys
Matt.
at the summer games.
Yeah.
If you see me there, please come and say hi and give me a hug.
Sounds good.
Okay.
I'll
see you in New
come
Hampshire,
on
Just a
the
fist bump.
for the board meetings.
How about
I'll
just
see
a
you at the next
handshake or a
board
fist
meeting.
bump, you know?
All right, everybody. Have a
Debbie.
lovely evening. Oh, Bobby, yeah. Oh, what's up?
Don't forget to Thank pray you, for my Debbie. family. I just lost an aunt this week.
What's up?
I just lost an aunt this week.
Oh, we're sorry,
Oh.
Bobby.
Bob.
Yeah, I just
Oh,
lost
fair
an
enough.
aunt on Monday. So the funeral is gonna be on my birthday, May 24th. So,
Bobby, that's
Pray for her for sure, Bob.
yeah, I got to go visit my family because the funeral is on my birthday.
Oh,
Wow.
thinking of you.
Yeah.
That's gonna be tough.
I miss.
All right.
All right, I see you on May 20th. The
We'll
big
see
day.
everybody on May 20th. All right.
All right, guys.
I'll see you with my cards.
Thanks,
Bye bye,
everybody.
Matt. Bye bye,
Bye,
Debbie.
Bye.
I'll
Bye,
be
guys.
good night, everyone.
This week.